Welcome back to the Breaker Bros. And tonight we're gonna react to some viral videos or photos, I should say, and a video, and then some other news
heard around the world, right?
Yeah. I guess we'll get right into it.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, how many words is this picture worth?
A lot, I would say. I felt like,
is 1,000 a lot, or is 1,000 less than a lot?
it's probably worth more than 1,000.
Okay.
Because I think the surprising part about this was that people thought this picture was real. I guess.
What? It's not real?
Well, isn't it like Anakin Skywalker's hair?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in a way they kind of look like each other, but
yeah, from like what was the second one? So Phantom Menace was the first of the new ones, but it was the second one, right?
I don't know. I haven't really kept up with Star Wars since like the original trilogy. So
what? I feel like
well, that's not true.
I feel like I failed somehow.
no, I guess I watched the second series too, like with Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I feel like I took you to some of those.
I think you did, because I kind of remember Taco Bell had like some type of event going on.
Yeah,
where you could get like the cups and some of the toys. And
I took you to those, and I took you to a WWF thing at Cincinnati Gardens. Those are like my big brother activities.
I guess that's the next thing that's going to come. Someone photoshopping hair from a wrestler and putting it on Joe Burrow. But yeah, no, it was kind of crazy how viral this picture went. But
it's viral because it looks good, man.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if Joe could do this, I'm all for it, because it's a good look. I mean, it's got like a lot of Richard Marx to it. I like it.
It kind of, in a way, reminds me of Herbert a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like Joe should buy like a Trans Am, like the beginning of, or not the beginning, like the middle of Billy Madison. Where he buys like the Trans Am and he goes to the high school. I feel like Joe should buy like a Trans Am and come to practice like this. I feel like that'd really do a number on the, on the cheerleaders. I think they'd be impressed.
Well, it just seems like anything with Burrow tends to, I guess, go viral, especially amongst Bengals fans. I mean, I feel like last year there was like the headband. I think the year before that, he did something else with his hair that was real. But yeah, there's always something going on with him. So he definitely puts the Bengals in the spotlight. I don't know. I guess people talk about auras and stuff like that, but I don't know. I feel like he's the perfect quarterback for the Bengals, especially at this time. Right now. Yeah, and I know people are going to say this is a little biased, but like I would
not
still
biased, man. That's wrong. We are unbiased.
Well, I don't know.
We have negative bias.
I wouldn't pick another quarterback over Joe Burrow. And that's with all the quarterbacks, like even Mahomes. I know people are going to be like, but I just.
What about Penix, man? Aren't you mad the Bengals didn't draft Penix?
No, I mean, the quarterback I would have considered was was it Milton, the quarterback from Tennessee?
Joe Milton? I think he was drafted in the 6th round by the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, I would have considered that like really late in the draft.
Oh, isn't that symmetric? Didn't the Patriots draft Tom Brady in the 6th round?
Yeah.
How awesome would that be if like Joe Milton turns out to be a stud for the Patriots?
Yeah, it just seems like around the league, just from what I've seen, a lot of those rookie quarterbacks are not doing so hot. It doesn't seem like. So, I don't know. It's crazy. What was there 6? No. How many were drafted in the first round?
75.
I think it was 6.
Okay.
Or maybe it was 5. No.
I don't know. We'll have to go back and watch the video of the live stream of the first round. Because I don't remember. That was so long ago, man.
It was 5 or 6. It was a lot, and then I guess
I feel like it was like 5 in the top 10.
it was something like that, and then
Right?
there was another one
because you had Caleb Williams 1,
Right.
and then Drake May, right?
Yeah, but you forgot the other one that Washington picked, Daniels, right?
Who? Oh yeah, Daniels.
Yeah,
So that's 3. Jaden Daniels. Penix is 4.
yeah,
Those were all top 10.
yeah. Those were like top 6, I thought.
Who did Minnesota draft?
McCarthy?
Yeah, that was 5 in the top 10. And then Bo Nix went to the Broncos, so 6 in the first round.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy how I don't want to say overrated, but essentially overrated quarterbacks.
It's not
can be.
overrated. It's all salary cap numbers, you know.
Well, I guess that's true.
I mean, like a
That's a big
good
factor.
NFL quarterback's like 50 million, but like if you draft one in the first round, it's like 5 million or something.
Well, no, like a above average quarterback, right? You have to at least pay him 30 million or something like that.
Yeah,
If
I'm
he's
just
a
saying,
starter.
but like a good, like, you know, top 5 type guy is like 50 million now, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But you could potentially draft a guy that in year 2 is a top 5 guy, and he only have to pay him 5 million. So that's why everybody takes that shot. And then if you fail and you draft the wrong guy, guess what? Guess what your punishment is for drafting the wrong guy? Your team stinks, and then you get to try again the next year, right?
yeah, you're eventually going to get it right. But yeah, I would say the majority of the quarterbacks taken in the first round this year are probably not going to pan out. But
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about that.
Well, of course you're right because we're unbiased. So
Well, I mean, back to what I was saying, I just think his demeanor and like the way he
Yeah.
carries
can
himself.
we like make our faces bigger and then Joey smaller?
What do you mean?
Well, I feel like he's taking up all of our screen. We're not even talking about this picture anymore.
Well, he's the real star.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, I can't see a Mahomes coming in or any other quarterback and doing what he did for the Bengals. I think that just kind of shows how special Joe Burrow is. Because if you put any of those other quarterbacks on the team that we had when he came in, I just don't think they would have turned it around like he did it. So I don't know. I think he's in the perfect spot. He's from Ohio. Because I was always, whenever
What? Joe Burrow's from Ohio?
you didn't know that.
No. Is Jerome Bettis from Detroit?
I guess, yeah. I feel like you're being facetious.
I feel like you're right.
But yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of when the Steelers took Big Ben. It was like, how did we
Big
mess
Ben's
that up?
from Ohio too.
Right. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's like they got the guy from Ohio, and even I think Mike Tomlin is from Ohio. Something
Just
weird
draft
like
dudes
that.
from Ohio and hire dudes from Ohio.
But yeah, I guess we can go to the next picture.
Zach Taylor worked at Cincinnati.
Yeah,
That's
but
in
isn't he
Ohio
from
as
like
well.
California or something?
I don't know. He went to Nebraska.
Oh yeah, never mind. Thinking of something else. I think he
Let's look at this nice picture of Joe Burrow.
he coached for the
Jake
Rams
Browning.
for a little bit. But yeah, this is another little thing that amongst Bengals Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
people were excited about this because it just kind of shows his personality a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers make you laugh sometimes. 69.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
He looks
Seems like-
okay. So in the other like news, everybody's talking about is how much bigger he looks this year.
Yeah.
Does he look bigger?
Well, I mean, that's what he said. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, I mean, he definitely looks like he put on a little bit of weight.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him saying that, like, I guess before the season, his biggest that he was when he was a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got injured, and then I think he lost a little bit of weight. And then he went into that next year, like, I guess 10 or 15 pounds lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he liked that because he was moving a little bit quicker. But I guess over the years, taking all the punishment that he has, I guess he decided to put the weight back on. So
Mm-hmm.
it'd be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah. Also, he cut his hair. He should have kept it long.
You know, he's a man of many different hairstyles.
That would have been really nice. That would have been a better picture if he was rocking that haircut.
It would not surprise me if he grows out his hair and it's long next year.
He should. He should.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, I think too, and this seems to be a theme like the last 3 years, but I feel pretty optimistic about the offensive line in seeing some of the footage of Mims, practicing. I mean, he just moves so well for a guy that size, and I feel like he can gain a little bit of weight too if he really wanted to. Get a little bit bigger.
Looks like he's like the skinniest 340-pound man in the world.
Right.
That makes sense.
Well, they were showing pictures of Mims right next to I think one of the people was Smith. And or backup guard.
Cody Ford?
Yeah, I guess he's playing backup guard right now. Or
I think it was on Dan Horde's Twitter.
Yeah, and he made them look small. Yeah. It was just like you could just tell he's built a little bit different. Like his frame is just wide, but like you said, he still looks skinny for a 340 pounder. Like if you're just looking at him like by himself, you wouldn't think he's 340 pounds, but it's like he can gain another 10 or 15 pounds, and I don't think he would lose that much speed. But I feel like he would be that much more, I guess, powerful when you add that much weight. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel pretty good. And then, of course, we picked up that veteran tackle from the Patriots. So I think between them two,
Brown?
Yeah, Trent Brown, it's gonna be exciting because like I can only imagine like around goal line plays, you're gonna have all 3 6'8", 340 players on the field at the same time. And I wonder if they'll get cute and put all 3 of them on the same side. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I hope they do something like that.
Like a 1,000-pound side of the offensive line. I think that'd be good.
Like if you overload the left and you have Mims, Brown, Orlando Brown Jr., and then Volson, they're all like 6'8", 340, right? Or Volson's like 6'7" or something like that. He's pretty tall. He's pretty big.
Yeah.
Like, that would be insane. You trying to look up that picture?
Yeah. Why not, man?
I feel like, yeah, there it is right there.
Okay.
Yeah, Deontay Smith, Cody Ford. Yeah, it's just crazy how much bigger he looks. Because Deontay Smith is 6'5".
Well, yeah, but Cody Ford's 6'5". Deontay Smith's like 6'1", right?
No, it says Deontay Smith is 6'5".
My bad.
I actually thought Cody Ford was a bit taller, but nonetheless, I'm sure part of it is an optical illusion.
Just because it's perspective.
Right.
The focus is on Amarius Mims' left elbow.
But nah, I mean, he just looks like a giant. So I'm so glad we got him, and we didn't.
I had a friend in college, and there was a guy on campus that looked exactly like him, but my friend was like
who?
Like my
Mims?
friend. No, neither of them looked like Mims. And my friend was like 6 foot tall, and this guy that looked like my friend was like 6'5". And like if I was walking towards him on campus, I'd be like, "Oh, that's Dave," and then I'm like, "Oh no, he keeps getting bigger. That's not Dave." So it's like, "Hey, oh no, you're not Dave. You're Giant Dave." Shout out to Dave and Giant Dave, although only one of you know who you are.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. What else we want to talk about?
I guess we can react to the video.
Okay. What video? Oh, yeah, you sent me a video. Let's see. Big screen it. Okay, so what is this video?
All right, so I named
Set it up, Josh.
Well, it seems to me, and it could just be people are more focused on it and showing more clips of this specific situation, but it feels like Joe Burrow and Burton have been working together a lot, and there seems to be an emphasis of them being on the same page. So this is just kind of like highlights of them working together.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good angle right here. And I guess another thing is just like, I'm kind of surprised how well he's throwing already. I mean, I'm no doctor or anything like that, but I assume that he would be not this far along. But yeah, it seems like, and I've seen other reports that it feels like he looks like the normal Joe Burrow. Like he hasn't lost zip or anything. It feels just about the same. I know they're expecting him to be 100% by training camp, or maybe they said by the beginning of the season. But I mean, he looks pretty good. I mean, I thought maybe throwing wise, it would take a little bit, but I mean, he looks pretty good. Now, of course, it's going to be a little bit different when it's like live action and there's actually people chasing him down and stuff like that. But just from what I can see, I mean, I was kind of shocked, like how well he's throwing it already. But yeah, it seems like they've been working on a lot with each other. This is another angle of that deep pass.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like, and then I put this little clip there because we feel like maybe, was it Daniel Jeremiah might be
Stalking you? Copying your analysis?
Yeah, you almost said something identical to basically what I was saying. But I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know that he does that really well. I mean, he runs a 4.4, so you know he's pretty fast. But
yeah, I wonder if I can pull up our notes.
But yeah, no, I mean, the one thing I noticed was that, and just being a former receiver myself, was that when you're running those deep passes, and sometimes it's hard to track, you know, like, but you can tell he's natural at tracking the ball, and that was like one thing I noticed.
Jermaine Burton tracks ball well. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Makes it look effortless, plays aggressive. Whoops. Whoops. Where'd it go? There it is. Big burst. He can track the ball really well. Wow.
But I think it was the last stream I was saying, yeah, he's going to have that because he runs a 4.4. So our top three receivers, projected top three receivers, are all deep threats. So I think they're one way or another, the opposing defense.
Right? Who's the slow guy? Who's the slow receiver?
Well, Higgins.
Irwin?
No. Higgins is not as fast. I think he runs like a 4.5, which obviously it's fast, but in NFL standards, it's not necessarily elite speed.
Yeah, but he's like a deep threat because he's like good at.
He's a basketball player.
Yeah. He's good at making contested catches because he's bigger than the guys guarding him.
Yeah,
because everybody else is just fast on the receiving.
I don't think
except for Trent Irwin.
There isn't any other receiver in the league that high balls the ball the way he does. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like of the three guys that are gonna vie for the third receiver, they're all like 4.4 guys, right?
Yeah, I think our top 5 receiver, well, outside of Higgins, our top 5 receivers are they run 4.4s.
Yeah,
so
but the 3 guys vying for the third receiver spot are all 4.4 guys.
Yeah.
So, in theory, all of them are deep threats.
But if you average it, it's a 4.4 because I want to say Chase runs a 4.3, if Higgins runs a 4.5,
Mm-hmm.
we basically
So
are 4.4. Yeah, on average,
Okay.
we run a
average.
4.4.
But what's the average height?
I think that varies. I think
That's not how average works.
well, right, but I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's not the same as the speeds where they're all relatively the same. I just think it's all over the place with heights.
Yeah.
Because I think Burton's probably in the middle of the pack. T. Higgins is like 6'5". Jamar Chase, I think, is like 6 foot or 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlie Jones seems like he might be pretty short.
I think he's 5'11".
Yeah, I guess he is. I don't know. Like when I watch him play, he feels like he's 5'10". But yeah, he might be a 5'11". I don't know, but he seems a bit
I
shorter.
think we looked that up last week. He's 5'11". He's like 4'38", and then like Yoshibas is like 6'3", 4'38", right?
No. They run a 4.4.
4'3".
Yes.
Yeah, but the heights are correct.
Yeah. But no, and then you kind of have to consider Kaseki too. So like when we have him on the field with our top 3 or 4 receivers, there's gonna be someone exposed on defense. I just can't see any NFL defense going to be able to contain them. Obviously, it's going to come down to the offensive line and how well they can hold up. But I mean, it's looking on the up and up. I mean, I feel like there's probably going to be some significant changes after this year, just based off of how things are going into this year, and it kind of feels like this is like one of those 1 year windows where we have a pretty good shot of making the Super Bowl if everything goes well and people can stay healthy, the key people. Because it's just like, if you look at our depth chart, I mean, I feel like the main difference from this year versus last year is that we actually have adequate depth, and I do think we got a little bit faster on offense. So I think that's really gonna bode well, especially in today's NFL. But yeah, I mean, the one thing you can never really predict is injuries. So I mean, but that's with any team. So
Yeah. All right, now let's talk about my favorite headline.
The cream of the crop.
So we got NFL scheduling. So according to Fox News, NFL exec admits that the NFL schedule was impacted by Taylor Swift's tour. Does this mean that the NFL is rigging games for the Chiefs? I don't know. I think so, but I don't know anything.
well, they 100% play favorites. I mean, I don't know how anyone could really deny that, and especially
they did not. No, Mike North denied putting the Chiefs in Buffalo during Taylor Swift's Toronto shows. He denies it. Why would the NFL do that? They could not possibly stand to benefit from having a game for the Chiefs close to where Taylor Swift is. How could they benefit?
Well, I think
Clearly it was an accident.
Well, I think part of them scheduling around Taylor Swift was partly because I think she's playing or she has concert in a lot of the stadiums, or maybe not a lot of the stadiums, but there's like 6 or 7 that she has concerts
I think
in.
I think there's 3 or 4.
I think it's a bit higher than it. I think it's like around 6.
So Swift has shows at each of the homes of Dolphins, Saints, and Colts in 3 straight weeks. So they had to plan around her 3 games, 3 venues. I think
Wait.
that they're doing more than that.
Wait. You smell that?
What?
No, do you smell it? It smells like bullshit. Because if you
What?
think about it, it's the NFL teams that own the stadium. It's not like she should schedule around them. I mean, obviously they're in cahoots. They just don't want to admit.
No, but that's the thing. They are admitting that they are in cahoots, but they're saying, hey, what do you want us to do? she's going to be playing in our stadiums. There's nothing we could do about that. So, yeah, we scheduled around it in that way.
Well, I'm sure that NFL owners, because don't they have to rent out the stadium for her to use? So they probably make some type of money off of those ticket sales, right?
Of course they make money.
Okay, yeah. I mean but that's why I go back to the favoritism. It's like any multi-billion-dollar company that's looking to grow is going to look at the bottom line or the bottom dollar.
They do things to make more money.
Right. And they're at a level where,
and it makes them more money if Taylor Swift's fans, who are not normally NFL fans, watch the NFL to see Taylor Swift. Does it not?
Well, now that she's performing, I'm assuming in more stadiums, but I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's more than normal, but this didn't seem like an issue before, right? Where it was brought to attention that, like, hey, maybe the NFL is scheduling around her tour. But I think they're scratching each other's back. Like, they're both benefiting from it. So it's not.
But that's what I mean, though. So doesn't that mean the NFL wants the Chiefs to win?
Yeah, I mean.
So if I were to type into Google's, the magic Google machine, luckiest NFL team 2023. Boom. NFL luck rankings. I wonder who the luckiest team was last year. Oh, wait. Season 2023. Boop, 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 boop. Kansas City was only 7th luckiest. I wish I would have researched this ahead of time. Let's ignore that. Let's go back to the pictures. So clearly it's fixed, is what I'm trying to say.
What determines how lucky a team is? Like, what is their criteria?
I don't know, man. I just Googled it.
Well, I saw something crazy where Patrick Mahomes has got like 70 or so play, or maybe it's not that high. It's probably closer to like 50 plays where he throws a turnover, but there's a flag on it and it gets called back. And then like the second highest quarterback to that is like 10. And it's like, if you just look at that alone,
we should show that.
It's just something I saw on the internet where.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's a way you can look it up. If you just look at maybe NFL or interceptions called back or interceptions turned over because of penalties. I'm sure he's going to pull up because this was like a hot topic towards the end of last year. Yeah, see, look.
Patrick Mahomes has thrown 53 interceptions that have been overturned by a penalty in the last 6 years. Next up, Josh Allen at 7.
Oh, no. This guy says, is this for real? And the guy says no.
Oh, but I saw it, Kyle.
I saw that somewhere else, though. But maybe that's where it started, though. There you go. QBs.
Oh, this is just Big Turk citing. Have you been swindled by Kyle?
But that's not where I saw it. I saw it actually off of Facebook because yeah, because it was like a meme where it had that stat. But of course, it's the internet. People tend to believe what they read without really looking into it. That one says Patrick Mahomes throws 15. I don't think StatMuse is. It can. I don't think it can really calculate all of them.
It just says 62 interceptions in 95 games. That's just
no. Wait, no. Hold on. Scroll down.
What?
Go back.
Back, I'm back.
It says number of Patrick Mahomes passing interceptions that were overturned last 6 years. Okay, well maybe they did do that. Because it says 62. I don't know. People tend to believe this.
That's not true. I don't think that's a lot.
It is a lot. That's what I'm saying. If that is real, I'm not saying it was. Just the fact that he has 60 or 50 or whatever you want to call it, and let's say the second closest is like 10. Obviously, something's going on, right?
Here you go. Here's Bleacher Report.
But it looks like they're only citing one game.
So Mahomes threw 2 interceptions that were returned by penalties. In this game.
It's funny because, like, people that are defending that stat, if it is true, they're just like, no, Mahomes is just smart because he knows that there's a penalty already called. And I was like, Mahomes is not the only quarterback that does that, right? Pretty much most quarterbacks that are quick thinkers, they always try to go for the deep pass, or at least for the first down if they know there's a penalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wish someone would really look into this and verify it if that's true. I don't know, because like 50 seems like a lot. But if that is true, and then it's like that, like, what more proof do you need that the NFL plays favorites? You know what I mean? Because, like, that is crazy. That's such a big variance. Like, you would think if it wasn't, or if it was true, if the NFL wasn't playing favorites, then say if he had 50, then the second quarterback would at least be at 30, right? Or something. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's only like 6 or 10, then that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, just from what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years.
What? The Queen Coney Pizza.
Bengals Jim.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I love
Put gravy on it. I'll think about it.
Gravy?
Yes, gravy.
Yeah, I could see that. Gravy, and then with I guess sausage.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I don't really know much about the Chiefs offseason. Wait, actually, didn't they trade their top cornerback?
Who?
I feel like they did. I could be wrong. Because they didn't want to pay him like the $30 million that he was asking for or whatever. But I feel like more or less the Chiefs probably stayed around the same. And
yeah.
I personally feel like the Bengals have actually gotten better this past offseason. So I feel like the draft was pretty solid. They didn't necessarily draft players like a Jamar Chase or a Joe Burrow or like a T. Higgins. Well, I don't know. I think Burton's going to surprise a lot of people that are not Bengals fans. Because I think people that follow the Bengals pretty closely understand that, like, man, if he's our third receiver, he's going to have a lot of plays where he's going to be open. Because you're just not going to be able to cover everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have T. Higgins and Chase. And hopefully there isn't drama going into the season where T. Higgins actually holds out. But like I said before, I feel like after this season, I can see some significant changes, whether we tag and trade T or just let him go altogether. I feel like the way to do it is tag him and then trade him. And then Hendrickson, I think that's probably what they're going to do. They'll probably tag and trade T, especially if he has a pretty good season this year. And then I think they re-sign.
Why would they trade him if they tag him?
Because if they don't take him, they can't trade him. He just becomes a free agent. And the best you
Why
can
would
get.
you just tag him?
Huh?
Why wouldn't you just tag him?
Because you got to pay other people.
Who?
I don't know. Cam Taylor-Britt, Trey Hendrickson wants a better deal. I mean, there's players on our team that still need to be paid. Our kicker needs to be
I can see him
paid.
tagging him again.
Chase needs to sign his big deal. I mean, a lot of that money is going to be gone before you know it. So, I don't know. I could see it happening.
I can see him tagging and keeping him next year, because I think the amount of money he wants guaranteed is more than what it would cost to tag him the next 2 years. So you might as well just tag him the next 2 years, because you tag him this year, and if he plays great, then tag him again next year.
You can't. You can only take 2 years in a row.
Yeah, this is the first year he's being tagged.
Oh, I thought you meant after next year.
No. You said tag and trade. I think you can tag people for 3 years. That's what happened with our boy.
Bates?
You like that? You like that?
No, you're wrong.
He got tagged 3 years by the football team.
What was that, 10 years ago?
Maybe.
I think the rules changed. I'm fairly confident you can only take 2 years in a row.
I don't know. If there's only a quick way of figuring that out.
But say if they do take him and keep him one more year, Higgins, then I think they trade Hendrickson. It's one or the other.
Three times.
Okay.
So, if he gets, what's the tag number this year for Higgins? Like 20?
It's 22.
22. So next year it would be 1.2 times 22, which is
that was like 25
4.4, so it'd be like 26.4 million, which isn't crazy if he plays good. 26.4 is cheap for a receiver that's like elite.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's many different variables, but
I'm just saying, like, if T. Higgins has a good year for T. Higgins, 26.4 is cheap to keep him another year.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because we still have to re-sign Chase, so I think that kind of changes everything.
No,
and it really depends.
No, it doesn't. Remember when we do all of our salary cap stuff? The cheapest year to have a guy that you sign to a big deal is the first year you sign him to a deal. Right? So, like, you could... So, Jamar's playing on his fifth-year option this year, which is, like, just like a straight... Whatever the option is, that's the salary cap hit. Right? But then if you do, like, a big contract...
technically this is his fourth year, so the fifth-year option would be next year.
Okay. Point being that whenever you do the extension, you can play games with the numbers to make like the immediate cap hit lower and you just push everything out into the future. You have a big cap, you have roster bonuses and stuff. So that, like, actually the year he signs his deal, his cap hit will be lower than it was the previous year. So it makes more sense, or no, it makes it possible to tag Higgins again, extend Chase, have his cap hit the year that you're franchising Higgins be lower, and then have the next year have the hit be higher, because then you let Higgins go the third year.
I would tend to agree with you if we were like the Cowboys or even the Browns, but that's just not what the Bengals do. They tend to like to pay players up front.
That's what they did with Burrow, right? His cap hit went down.
Yeah, because he's on his fifth-year option.
Yeah, but the extension made his cap hit go down. So when you extend them, you get salary cap relief. the pain comes towards the end of the deal.
No, because next year his cap hit's like 50.
But what's his cap hit this year?
It's the 5th-year option, so the $30 million or whatever it is.
I don't think it's like that.
Okay.
Where's even Burrow on this list?
Because he went to 2023.
Yeah.
He's
Do you see him?
you got to go up. Was he not the second player? Wait, hold on.
Oh, he moved to the injured reserve cap. Don't know what that means. So his cap hit was 19 last year. Is that when he signed his contract?
Yeah. He signed his extension after they did the 5th-year option. It still wouldn't surprise me if Chase gets extended this year.
So signed a 5-year 275.
Why don't you just look at 2025?
Yeah, there you go. This shows the whole contract. Right? When did he sign it? 2023. No? Is that right? Because it's weird because they do it as an extension. So actually, like the first year of the deal is lower, right? And then you see like the last year is 68. It just like slowly ramps up.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit different with Burrow.
No, but I'm saying like if they do something similar with Chase, then like say he signs like a average annual value of like $35 million a year, right? The first year of his deal, like so Burrow's was $55 million average annual value, right?
I just don't think they're going to do that for a receiver.
What? You don't
I
think
just don't
they'll
think
pay Chase 35?
No, I think he'll average 35 or whatever the market value is.
Like if he averages,
But if they do what you're
his
saying,
first
then
year
his last
cap
year's going to
hit
be
will-
like a $50 million cap hit per receiver. Just doesn't make sense.
it won't be 50 million the first year. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that like
I'm saying the last year of his contract.
the last year will be like 50, yeah.
That's silly for a quarter or a receiver. It makes more sense for a quarterback because he's more likely to extend, and you can still mess with the number.
But that's the game, though. Like you'd never. This year never happens.
Right, because
These contract years never happen. Like when you get to 2028, he will extend before 28 to adjust these numbers, the cap hit numbers down. They'll just extend it out further. Like that's the game you play with the cap, right? So, point I'm trying to make is that Jamar Chase's cap will go down next year because they will extend. They're not going to sign him to a new deal. They're going to extend his rookie deal. His cap hit will initially go down, and they'll slowly ramp up, like Joe Burrow's deal, right?
the only reason why that kind of makes sense what you're saying is because he's still pretty young, Jamar Chase. So he's more likely to extend one more time after the fact.
But the way these are structured, you can just cut them after 3 years, and then like you just take the dead cap. But like Burrow's deal only has dead cap of $15 million after 2028, at 2028. So these numbers are fake, right? Like you don't actually have to pay him $53 million. Because if you
You
cut him,
do,
only
if
have
he's
the
really-
cap
if
of
he's-
15 million.
If he's still performing at elite level, you're not just going to cut him because you don't want to pay him.
If he's still performing at elite level, he will make more than 53.
Yeah, that's if the cap keeps going up, and at some point it's not.
I don't know. Have you been paying attention to the world?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, I'm just saying.
The
This
NFL
might
is
be
not.
the cost of a McDonald's Happy Meal in 2028. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
it's great
but
that the
this
NFL is
$53
thriving, but
million
it doesn't mean everyone else
salary,
is.
this $53 million salary is never going to happen.
The bubble's
Never.
going to burst one way or
No, no,
another.
no.
Like,
It's-
people are not
the-
going to continue. If everything what you're saying is going to happen, I can only imagine what the tickets are going to be 2028, 2029. It's literally going to cost $600 just to get in one game for just.
Yeah, but $600 will be what it costs to take an Uber ride to the game, so we won't care.
Yeah, but that's not reality.
It is reality.
It's not
Inflation's,
because
out of control, dude.
right, but not. It doesn't mean people's salaries is keeping up with inflation. That's my point. Like people are like
No, they're doing the opposite.
exactly. So the bubbles are going to burst eventually. They're, like people are not going to be willingly. You know what I mean? Paying all this money because at some point they're going to be like, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm just going to watch it on
Yeah,
TV.
but there's a flaw in your argument because you're talking about ticket prices. The money is from TV.
In general, it's not. I don't know. I think they're at that line.
Table our broader discussion on macroeconomics. Let's just talk about salary cap stuff. Joe Burrow, 1,000% guaranteed in 2028, will not have a cap hit of $53.5 million and will not have a salary of
But you're
35.5
assuming the salary
with an
cap
$18
is going to
million
continue to
option.
go up. It's just that's not reality.
no. If it goes down, if it doesn't go up, then they're going to cut him or renegotiate.
Right.
I'm just saying, like this number is fake. It's never going to happen. This is just a predetermined point in time where the Bengals and Joe Burrow are going to renegotiate. And if
First
he's
of all-
still an elite level,
First of all,
he's-
the quarterback
he's
is
gonna-
an exception. That's one position you're willing to get funny money with for any organization. Outside of that, the Bengals are not going to do that for a receiver. They're not going to do it for a cornerback.
they would do it for a
They're-
receiver. They did it for
No,
AJ
no, they
Green.
won't.
Yes,
No, they
they
didn't.
did it for AJ Green.
But the Bengals pay up front. They do the opposite of what you're saying. They usually front load the contract, so they are more cuttable after year 3, year 4, whatever. They do the opposite of what you're saying.
What's the opposite of what I'm saying?
Because you're saying pay him less up front and then backload the
I'm
contract.
saying cap hit. Cap hit is less because of the way you structure the deal.
So the reason why that's silly, right?
He gets
Is
paid more
because-
upfront because they gave him a signing bonus.
So what if he's really good for the next 6 years? You're just going to cut
Who?
him because you don't want to pay him?
No, then he
Whoever
gets, then he gets paid
figurative
more.
person that we're talking about because
no, you're missing the point. There is
No, I'm
no
not.
way that either Burrow's
It's
awesome,
it's the
then he's going to
Browns.
make more money.
They
or
only
he's
make
gonna
money
perform
off.
below expectations, and he's
They
going to
only
get
make
cut.
money off the Bengals. They don't have a multi-billion-dollar company in their back pocket.
Sure,
where they can
do.
have
get,
plenty of money.
Shared revenue.
No,
They do get shared revenue.
right? But that's not why
Joe
certain
Burrow
teams.
got a $40 million signing bonus.
So the main
So-
difference between the Browns, actually, let's just say the Browns and the Bengals is that the Browns owner is worth a crap ton of money, so they actually have real cash in the bank to pay people up front to do this crazy stuff that you're talking about.
There's nothing crazy about it. This is standard.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's only a select few teams that get real funny with which
All teams play these games.
No, they don't.
All of them.
Not
Yes.
to the way that you're talking about.
What do you mean? His base salary
You
in
want to
23
pay
is $1 million.
You're talking about paying 2 receivers elite money, receiver money, and then on top of that, having a quarterback paid elite money.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
I don't think so. I think the writing's on the wall. Like I thought this would work last year because I thought maybe T would take a little bit less, but it just based off of like how his agent is negotiating is that they want true market value, and I think for him to stay with the Bengals as long as possible, he actually has to take a little bit under market value.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the franchise tag is less than market value for T. Higgins. Correct?
Right, but
or wrong?
No, you're still paying T. Higgins.
Look, T. Higgins is making $21.8 million this year.
This
right?
year, we're talking about next year. You said paying
next
T.
year
Higgins
it'd be
120%.
What's 120% of 21.8? It's like 20. It's like $26 million. Is
Okay.
that below market value for T. Higgins? If he plays good, it is.
But you still got to pay Jamar Chase.
You can for 1 year.
They're not going to do that.
Okay. I think they might. And I think that would be the smart thing to do.
I think they won't, because if T. Higgins plays well enough to where you would consider it, then you trade him now to get that first round pick. Or
Why?
then, I should say.
Why?
Because if
It's
you let him
nothing to
go,
do
the
with how
best you
good
can
T.
get.
Higgins plays.
Huh?
It's more to do with how good the other receivers play. The only reason you would get rid of T. Higgins is if you got a guy that's as good or better on your roster already, they can take his spot. So if Jermaine Burton plays awesome, then maybe. But if Jermaine Burton plays awesome, then T. Higgins probably isn't going to have a great year. It's just not possible for, well, I mean, it's possible, like if Jamar Chase has a bad year. But it's not possible for Jamar Chase to play good, T. Higgins to play good, and then for Jermaine Burton to play good enough that you're not worried about losing T. Higgins, right?
See, I live in a world
Mm-hmm.
where it would not surprise me if they draft a receiver in the first round next year. Because just like what you were talking about before with quarterbacks, where it's cheaper to get a quarterback in the first round, same thing with receivers. And matter of fact, it's probably easier to replace an elite receiver than an elite quarterback via draft.
No, it's not. Not an elite receiver.
Yeah, I would say it is.
Nah.
If you look at the top 20 receivers,
Uh-huh.
they're all really good. If you look at the top 20 quarterbacks, it's only like 7 of them that are really good. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I don't agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
We have different meanings of the word elite.
I didn't say elite. I said really good.
No, you said elite.
No, what I just said is if you look at the top 20 receivers, all of them are really good.
Okay.
If you look at the top 20 quarterbacks, only 6 of them are like really good. And what I said before that was that it's easier to replace an elite receiver than there is an elite quarterback.
Yeah, and I said it's not.
Okay. But you're not separating the two different statements that I said.
Maybe.
I'm just saying there's
That's-
just way more talent in receiver than there is quarterback. I think most people would agree with that.
I don't know about all that, man.
Okay. It just seems like every year there's like 10 or 15 receivers that you're like, holy shit, they could be really good. To whereas it's like quarterbacks, it's only like maybe 1 or 2. Then you're like, oh yeah, they're going to be really good.
You mean in the draft?
Right.
Yeah, but that's not reality. Every year there aren't 10 or 15 new receivers in the NFL that are really good.
They have potential to be really good.
That's the different. Okay, that's not being really good.
Okay. I feel like most football fans would agree with what I'm saying. It's
okay. Well, then most
easier
people
to
would be
replace.
wrong.
Okay, because you think differently, or you just what do you want to look at the numbers, or I don't understand. Like, literally, just look at Google search top quarterbacks in the league, and then Google search top receivers in the league. And if you just look at the list, you're like, holy shit, there's way more talented receivers than they are quarterbacks.
No, do it with your mind. Do it with your brain. Who are the top? Name some
Just
top
Google
receivers
it.
in the
Look
NFL.
at it.
No, you do it. Tell me, who are the top receivers in the NFL?
Okay, it is Tyreek Hill. There's Jefferson.
Okay.
There's Chase. There's CeeDee Lamb. There's I don't know. You're gonna have to fuck it. I'll Google it. I've done this before. I've seen
Okay,
it.
who's the top receiver in the NFL that was drafted in 2022?
Top receiver drafted in 22. I don't know. AJ Brown probably.
2022?
No.
I think AJ Brown's a little bit older than 22.
Here, let me do it. Top 20 receivers in the NFL.
Okay.
Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Stephon Diggs, Debo Samuels, Puka Nacua, which I don't know if he should be that high,
Puka
but
Nacua.
Mike Evans,
Yeah,
Terry
Puka Nacua
McLaurin,
is like
DJ
the
Moore,
best receiver
Devontae Smith,
from
Jalen
2023.
Wellen, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf is 20, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Michael Pittman, Tank Dell, Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Marvin Harrison
Chris-
Jr. hasn't even
Chris
played in
Olave,
the NFL. I'll
that's-
see in the top 20.
Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Malik
Drake
Neighbors.
London? Really?
However you want to sort it, I don't care. But if you just look in terms of just really talented receivers, I'm like, okay, I can see why you would put him there, right? I may not agree with it, but I can see why they have that distinction. But let's look at top quarterbacks.
No, I don't even understand why we're going down this rabbit hole. What's your point? That you
'Cause
shouldn't
it's
pay
easier
T.
to
Higgins
replace a
$26
top
million?
receiver than it is a top quarterback.
Not for the Bengals.
Yeah, it is. What are you talking about? The Bengals are really good at drafting quarterback or receivers. It's
Not
like,
if you're missing the whole point. If T. Higgins has a great year, if T. Higgins has a career year this year, why would you not franchise tag him again?
because it's if you can get a first and third rounder for him, then why wouldn't you do that? Because if he's not in your long term plans,
Who cares about the long term? We got Burrow, we got Chase. Let's win a Super Bowl.
all right, then I guess we get rid of Trey Hendrickson. Then
I didn't say get rid of Trey Hendrickson.
he's not going to want to stay another year under the contract that he has.
Well, then
I
you
can
have to get rid of
guarantee you
other
that.
people.
We're eventually going to have to re-sign Cam Taylor-Britt, which I saw on another
Drafted
top-
corner in the first round. Then I'm just
That's
saying,
something
it
that we
doesn't make
suck
any-
at.
It doesn't make any
What are you
sense.
talking about?
We drafted Cam Taylor-Britt in the second round.
And then who was before that?
Dax Hill, first round.
Yeah, but he was drafted as a safety. We don't even know if he's
Okay.
going to be a good corner.
I don't know.
I guess technically, I think Cam Taylor-Britt, and I still have high hopes for the corner that we drafted last year in the second round. But
Toast.
see, you're like proving my point, but if you just look at the history of the draft and the Bengals drafting receivers, like that is like their bread and butter. I don't know if there's any other position that they draft better.
You can win games in the NFL by outscoring teams.
Okay.
So that's just going to be how you have to win.
I don't know. I would love to believe what you're saying, but I just
believe it, brother.
It's just not the Bengals. I wish they had a multi-billion-dollar
we're just
company
talking past each other. What's like? Say T. Higgins catches like 20 touchdown passes this year and 1,800 yards.
The better he plays, the more likely he's going to get traded.
I feel like the better he plays, the more likely they franchise tag him again.
Then he's definitely going to hold out.
He won't hold out.
Yeah, he will. If he plays like a top 5 receiver, like what you're saying.
Who has ever held out from the second franchise tag?
There's plenty of people that hold out all the time.
Not from the second tag. It's just so much money. Why would you hold out?
Because you risk injury without a multi-year guaranteed money for 1 year. But a really good player. The problem with your logic is that
$25 million. You're going to sign the deal.
No, not if what you're saying happens. If he plays, if he has numbers as a top 5 receiver, or let's just say top 10.
Say he's the number 1 receiver in the NFL next year. Is that possible?
I mean, I don't even want to say it, but if something happens to Chase, then yeah, he could potentially get up there.
If nothing happens to Chase, he could have the.
Then if nothing happens to Chase, then no, it's not possible because Chase is the number 1 receiver in our team. He's going to get more looks. It's just the way it is.
Okay, well, let's say he's the number 2 receiver in the NFL then.
Okay, then he gets traded 100%.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he does because he's going to hold out because there's going to be other teams that are going to be willing to trade.
Way to hold out.
Yeah, he will hold out 100%.
Okay.
The problem that he has is that he got hurt last year and his numbers didn't look that great.
Then. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's that dumb.
We talking about Chris Jones just held out last year.
He was on the second franchise tag, and he held out?
Yeah, he held out until like the 2nd or 3rd game. You don't remember that when he was sitting in the stands with Tony Soprano?
It's 1 game.
Yeah, but he came back because he got his deal that he wanted.
You have to, if you don't come back by the 4th game, you lose your service year. And then you just franchise tag you again.
I don't know. We'll see. I would love for him to stay, but it's just I don't know. Just based off how this past offseason played out, I didn't get a good feeling out of it because I thought maybe it would go a little differently, and it doesn't help.
Yeah, I mean, but this is exactly how I thought it was going to go. That's the difference between us. You thought he was going to take a deal, and I'm like, why would he take a deal? That's stupid.
Well, if he really wanted to stay with the Bengals, then he takes a little bit of a team-friendly deal like all the other players that we re-signed.
Who took a team-friendly deal?
Logan Wilson? Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson. I don't know why he signed that deal. I think he signed a team-friendly deal. I don't think he ever signed a team-friendly deal, to be honest.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Nope.
If he really considered himself like a top 10 defensive end, then he took a.
He is a top 10 defensive end,
right? And I'm sure he thought that, but he wasn't getting paid like it.
He's still not getting paid like it,
right? Because he signed an extension.
Well, the reason why he's not paid like a top 10 defensive end is because he was a late round draft pick, and the Bengals signed him to a fair deal, and
at the time
performed the deal,
right?
But he was still under the deal. He just outperformed it. And then the Bengals gave him a little bit more money, but they didn't have to. And so it was just like, it's harder for guys in that position to make money. As much money as a guy who's like drafted at the top and has always been as good as expected, It's a weird spot to be in, to be that good of a defensive end but not be like a, top 10 pick. Usually defensive ends are pretty they're identified pretty early, right? Like if you think of like the top defensive ends, they're almost all like top 10 picks, right?
No.
Name one that's not.
Max Crosby, J.J. Watt.
Well, Max Crosby, was he like a 14th pick?
Was he? I don't know. Well, you said top 10, but
I don't know. Maybe it was a second rounder.
yeah, I thought he was like a third rounder. Actually, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know.
So that's
Trey Hendrickson.
okay. But then I'm thinking of like Bosa.
Yeah.
Bosa 2.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Guy in Cleveland.
Yeah. Garrett. Yeah.
Garrett.
Those are only 3. Because there was
Will
like a
Anderson. Like, I mean, just like most of the dudes that are defensive ends are identified pretty
but
early.
Will Anderson is not a top 10 paid defensive end though. He was
like the number 1 or number 2 pick.
Right, but he's not. But we were talking about picked high and paid a lot.
No, I said who are the top defensive ends, not who's paid a lot. I meant who's the top. Who are the best defensive
Well, that's what
ends?
you said before. You said a lot of the top defensive ends
I misspoke then. Who are the top defensive ends? Usually the dudes picked at the top of the first round.
I want to say the first round is like a 50% like success rate.
No, it's not success rate. I'm just saying, like, how many defensive ends that are really good were not picked in the first round? Not many, right?
Well, it's just how our memories work. Is that you tend to remember the ones that you remember, but you don't.
I think Trey Hendrickson was what, a 4th round pick?
Top defensive ends in the NFL. Let's see. They have Myles Garrett, Parsons, right? He was picked early.
Yeah.
Bosa, Crosby, Jalen Phillips. I don't know when he was picked. Montez Sweat.
I think Sweat was a 2nd rounder.
Daniil Hunter.
I don't remember when he was drafted.
I feel like if you can't remember, then it's most likely not in the top 10, or let's just say top 15. See, there's Trey Hendrickson, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Josh Allen.
4th. So Max Crosby is a 4th rounder.
Yeah.
So
Von
Trey
Miller.
Hendrickson. Von Miller was a top pick. Who,
Yeah, he
who
was.
did we say? Danielle Hunter?
Yeah. I feel like he's like a 2nd or 3rd.
Third
round pick.
rounder.
Yeah. Montez Sweat.
I think he was 2nd round.
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels like a 2nd rounder. There's Josh Sweat too.
Oh, how do you spell Vontaze?
Or no, Montez.
Oh, Montez.
Yeah.
First round.
Okay. Jalen Phillips. Jaelan. It's probably Jalen. Pick 13.
So Trey Hendrickson is making 20.
Wait, hold up. They have TJ Watt 18. Okay, what am I looking at? This. Hold on, I gotta find a different list.
Well, TJ Watt was a first round pick.
No, he was, but he was like late. Well, like mid.
So,
it was like 18, right?
what's Max Crosby's salary? That's the comp, right?
You should just look at top defensive ends contracts.
So he signed a 4-year, $94 million contract.
I think the Bengals were some things they do really well, and I think they were just ahead of the curve. They knew that defensive
They
ends.
identified. They just identified him early.
Well, I'm talking about last year when they did the little extension, because that happened right before all these other players got like those bigger contracts. And because I specifically remember, like, man, they kind of pulled a quick one on Hendrickson. It was such a business savvy move. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna hold out next year, it'd be Trey Hendrickson.
That's why I feel like one of the two is going to get traded one way or another. I just don't see in a world next year where Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins are both going to be on the Bengals. It's one of the two.
I don't know.
Because they're going to have to pay a lot of people next year too. Or I shouldn't say a lot of people, but like their top 3 priorities, or maybe even 4. Because if you added McPherson, which I mean, he'll probably get like a $5 million per year deal or something like that. Because that would be elite kicker money. But I feel like Cam Taylor-Britt is probably going to get a pretty sizable contract. Because he's a corner.
Yeah, but they don't have to. He's under contract.
I believe next year is going to be his 4th year.
Yeah, but he's under contract for 2025.
Yeah, but that's his 4th year.
Okay. So they have to sign him for 2026, not 2025, right?
Well, usually your really good players, you extend it before they hit free agency. So you do it like
Yeah,
the
but that doesn't
year.
impact the salary cap.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It's like the next year it hits your salary cap. That's what I'm saying. Like the T. Higgins thing could happen again because all the guys that need to get re-signed, it's going to happen. It's going to hit the 2026 cap. So you can actually eat a big salary into 2025. And then I'm not saying it's like for sure going to happen, but I'm just saying if he has a really great year, why wouldn't you do it?
Like I said, I think the better he plays, the more likely he gets traded. Because the more likely he's probably going to hold out.
But that's the thing, though. Why would you hold out? It's $24 million. It's $26 million. You're not going to hold out.
Because there's always like the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns, the Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Redskins, like the top 8 or 10 teams that can actually have the funny money. They always give them these players these ridiculous contracts because they believe what you believe.
But they can't. He can't get it because if you cap him, if you franchise tag him, he can't do anything about it. So you can't go play for another team.
I think the Bengals will play ball if they can get a first round pick plus another pick on top of it.
The thing that happens though is that nobody can sign the guy because the cap hits so big. Like it limits your options for working a trade.
I would say the only other thing that's working against T is that next year's wide receiver free agency is pretty good.
I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. And I can see a world where he has a really good year. And
yeah, I think if he stays healthy,
tag him again. And they tag him again. There's just like $26 million or T. Higgins. We'd rather have T. Higgins than $26 million.
Yeah, I don't know. And don't get me wrong, I would love for that to happen, but I get a weird feeling based off of what happened this past offseason. But who knows? If they have a lot of success
this season at all, I don't. It just wasn't going to happen because of what they can do. Because what it would take to re-sign T. Higgins is basically what it would take to franchise him the next 2 years, except if you just play it out with the franchise tag, you take less risk because there's no risk
for the team
for injury for the team.
Yeah, but not for the player.
For the player, yes, but then in the end, if he plays good, he's going to get the same amount that he would have anyways.
I always thought he was going to play this year because it's such a significant pay increase from what he was getting paid before. Because basically this 1 year Trump's, well, hold on. He was a second round pick. So what, 4 year, what did he have, like a $12 million contract?
I don't know. Let's see here. T. Higgins made $4 million.
Okay, yeah. So it's like a $12 million contract, right? His rookie deal?
No.
It's like 11?
Yeah, it'd be less, right? Because it goes up every year.
Because because he's essentially like, because what, he was picked 33rd? Because he was like fringe first round pick. Because I think we had the first round or the first overall pick. Because we got Burrow and then Higgins.
It was
he has a
$10 million.
Yeah, so he's getting paid twice as much than what he got his first 4 years. So yeah, I see why he plays this year. But then going into next year, knowing that he could make over 30, I think he holds out. Or there's more potential to hold out. Because you're looking at
$6 million's a lot of money, man.
I agree, but it feels different when you go from 22 to 25 versus 4 to 20. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna want that 20 million. That's so off. That's it.
Just saying.
I think if they franchise him next year, I think he definitely holds out. Assuming he has like a year that we expect him to have, right? Whether it's,
I mean, I saw something online that said that he was asking for Michael Pittman's deal. I think it was on Pat McAfee. He was interviewing the Bengals beat writer, and she was saying that like T. Higgins wanted the Michael Pittman deal,
which is crazy to me. Like, why wouldn't you sign that, Bengals? Like, what is your problem? Like,
because they did the math, and it's the same deal. What he's asking for is what you would just give him if you franchise tag him 2 years in a row. Except you have no injury risk.
yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
to me.
because there's way less risk for the team to do it this way, right? Because if he plays good, then you can
that just
decide,
goes
do
to
we want
show
resign
that
him?
the NFL Player Association, you guys got to do a better job. Because like NFL teams should not have this much leverage against a player. Because that's crazy to me. Like they should have signed that.
Just saying. That's why it just works out this way. It's because they have so much leverage, right? So, and you can change your mind, right? So, like, say he plays good, and they decide Jermaine Burton, after a year, he's ready to take over. We'll just let T. Higgins walk. We'll get a 3rd round compensatory pick, right?
What was Michael Pittman's total guarantees?
I don't know.
46.
46 guaranteed. See? It's the same deal.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay.
Have I actually convinced you of something?
I mean,
This is an unusual look for me to see from you. I think I've convinced you of something.
yeah. I mean, kind of. But then again, I don't understand the whole. It just felt weird this offseason, and that's nothing
It is
against
weird.
nothing against T. Higgins, because I think he's a phenomenal player, and I would love for him to play with the Bengals for the rest of his career. But yeah, this is crazy to me. I think to me he's worth the risk. So it's like you keep your
Why?
player. We mean why? Because it's morale. It's because it's like if you're gonna give him that money anyways.
No, but you're not. Only if he earns it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can kind of see it for both ways, because then if I flip the script, right, and say if we're an NFL owner and you're paying someone this much money, like you definitely want him to perform. So like I can kind of see it both ways, but at the same time, I feel like T. Higgins is worth it. Like I think you just keep him happy, and overall it makes the team better. So like just do it. But obviously the Bengals don't do that. I mean, we let Jesse Bates go.
Yeah, I just, to me, Jamar Chase is not replaceable. So you got to make sure you re-sign Jamar Chase. So you got to maintain flexibility in order to do that, right? So for that reason, I kind of see why they're doing it, and maybe I agree with it without having done all the detailed like number crunching. But to me, that's what you need, right? Because you have all the money for 25 to do whatever you need to do to get Chase re-signed, right? So then you re-sign Chase, and then you look at your salary cap situation, and you look at your team situation, and then if there's enough money to re-sign T. Higgins to a long-term deal, then you do it, right? But to me, I would be deathly afraid of re-signing T. Higgins to like a 3-year deal like Pittman, and then for some reason you don't have the extra $2 million you need to re-sign Chase, right? Or the extra $4 million you need to re-sign Chase, right? So it's almost like the order is re-sign Chase, and then if you can, extend Higgins out, right? And then you have the leverage of, well, you can always cap him again, right? But you want to make sure that you get Chase under contract for like his prime, and then you could add Higgins back into the fold.
That kind of goes back to what my theory is that they're going to throw everything at Chase as possible, because I still think they're still trying to re-sign him long-term this year.
Yeah, but
what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no,
because my belief is that if you're truly an elite player, it's not possible to just replace you. So you got to decide who's the elite players on the team, right? And so it's like, okay, Burrow, and then like Chase, right? And you do whatever you can to sign them. And then once you sort that out, then you build a team around that. So and Chase is, or I'm sorry, Higgins is just in the unfortunate situation where he's not the best wide receiver on his team, so he's always going to come second.
Yeah, it is a crazy situation because, like, if you put him on 15 other teams, conservatively, he's easily the best receiver.
Right. He's like the 15th best receiver in the NFL. He just happens to play with like one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL, right? So it's just like he's just going to come second. And it's just, it sucks. But, you know, then again, sometimes it doesn't suck because, you know, if you're a receiver and you're playing next to Jamar Chase, it's not bad all the time, right? So, I mean, and he's played in a Super Bowl. I mean, there are benefits to playing with other elite players, right? So it's, in the end, it's hard to feel sorry for someone who is having an excellent NFL career, is going to make $21 million this year. He's going to have Joe Burrow throwing a football. So that's a recipe for winning games. And I think ultimately, if you're a professional athlete, you want to get paid well and win, right?
If the Bengals play really well this year and I hate even say winning the Super Bowl because it's like, say if they get close or win it or whatever, I think that's enough to kind of sway him to stay even longer, because I feel like players do kind of get addicted to success, and sometimes they like, okay, maybe I will take $3 or $4 or $5 million less to stay with a winning organization where you know you have more potential to win than going to a crappy situation where, I mean, because if you look at Devontae Adams, I mean, he got paid a lot of money and then he got traded to the Raiders, which really sucks. So it's like, do you want to be in a situation where there's a lot of turnover and you don't know who's going to be your next head coach, or, you know, you don't know who's throwing you the ball? So I feel like, but what you said, as far as Chase being the priority, and because I think that's the way it is going on, and because they still have quite a bit of cash to spend, because I think there's money that they still have to spend, and my speculation is that they're going to throw everything they can to get Chase to resign, because they know it's going to be cheaper for him to do it before Jefferson. Because once Jefferson resets the market, then it's like, yeah, it's even more crazy numbers, right? And I think their backup plan is, if they can't get that Chase deal done, they're just going to throw it at McPherson. Like, that's what I think is going to happen.
Who?
McPherson, or kicker.
Okay. They can't get Chase done. They're just going to throw money at McPherson.
Yeah, because
extend Higgins.
Yeah, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and it actually clicks to like the whole situation, because like, yeah, you want to.
Oh, you mean just for this year?
Right, because they have to spend money.
Chase early.
Right, because they still have cash to spend.
Right, then they'll use their current year cash.
Right,
get McPherson signed, and then
right, because it's going to be about the same money,
and pay Chase more, and then they're going to have to figure out what to do with
Higgins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the situation, right, like, so the cumulative cash amount for Pittman for 24-25 is 46, right? So based on what we're coming up with math-wise, Higgins is going to end up, if he gets franchised again, like about 46 cumulative cash over 2 years, right? He had to bear more risk, but he has less leverage because Pittman is the best receiver on the Colts. But, you know.
Nah, that like what you said clicks, and I think that is the situation. It makes so much sense, because if obviously if Chase wasn't on our team, then Higgins would have been re-signed a long time ago. Like, it wouldn't have been a question.
They would just throw money at him and he would have been signed. But they're all kinds of they're in such a good spot in terms of leverage, because even Higgins, I think, would admit that he's not the best receiver on his team. they've got his replacement already on the roster.
Josevash.
One of them, right? Yeah, Josevash.
When they drafted Josevash, I immediately, because if you just look at his measurements, I'm like, holy shit, it's like a slightly faster T. Higgins.
I guess.
They're the same height.
Yeah, but skills wise, they're not. They're just
Well,
not the same player.
I don't know, because like I said, Higgins, what he does really well is the high point, and no one does it like him.
No, yeah, exactly.
But I don't know.
Higgins
Josevash
is like a bully, man. Like there's none of that in Josevash.
Josevash is faster, so like I feel like
Josevash is just a different player. He doesn't have that bully in him like Higgins.
I don't know. I think he does.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
He's a pretty big guy. Like he's like noticeably big.
I feel like Burton has that bully in him. Like I feel like Burton's the type of guy who's gonna, assert himself physically to catch the ball. Like physically, they're not the same, but like I think stylistically, they're the same.
Yeah, I don't know. There's the best thing that can happen for the Bengals really is if they win a lot of games this next coming year and get as close as they can, if not win it all.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, I think some of this tension that was built up this offseason will kind of go away because success cures everything, especially in the NFL.
But also money.
Right. You always want a lot of money if you're in a shitty situation. Like that's what's going to make you feel better. But there's nothing like winning a lot. That seems to be pretty consistent with any winning organizations, is that they tend to get a lot of players because players to take more reasonable deals because they just want to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fun. It's fun to win. I think we've all played team sports, and when you win, it's so much fun, and when you lose, it sucks.
But also, if you win, you make more money on the back end.
Well, yeah, long term. If you think about endorsements and stuff like that,
Yeah.
No, I concede. You're right.
Hey, was this episode 200? I finally got one.
No, I mean it finally clicked when you said the priority was Chase, and because what caught me off guard, because like what you're saying right now is exactly how I felt like last year at this time. Because like it just made sense. It's like, oh, why wouldn't they want to stay together and win and blah blah blah? But then it's just trying to gain that upper hand, right? You want to get that leverage. You want to get paid now. I get that, but it's just an unfortunate situation for Higgins, just because like what we're saying, he could be the 15th best receiver in the league, but he's competing against a top 3 receiver. So it's like, it's just tough. It's like, of course that top 3 receiver is going to get what he wants first, and then you let the chips fall. But I firmly believe that's what's going to happen. They're going to try everything they can, because I think he's already signed the 5th-year option. Pretty sure he has. And I think they're going to try to do everything they can to get him to sign that long-term deal. And if not, McPherson to me seems like a very reasonable backup plan.
But I mean, it could still all fall into place, right? Because if Chase signs and then you could circle back around and just extend Higgins.
Yeah. I mean,
and then you're just like, we're just gonna have to draft corners and defensive ends and be young and cheap on defense, like the Chiefs.
I don't think the Chiefs are that young on defense.
I think so. Aside from
Chris
Jones, it's all just like there are a lot of young rookie contracts on their defense.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Chris Jones always throws me off.
Yeah, but that's like you have to pay a defensive end. You just have to, unless you draft one. you got to pay him.
Because I'm trying to think who else is really good on their defense. It's their corners, but like I said, I think they traded their top corner.
Yeah, I mean, but like for the Bengals, if
Was it Snead?
Hendrickson,
Snead was the.
yeah, the Darius Snead.
Didn't they trade him?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then
But they still have
drafted
that
a
other
guy.
cornerback that's really good.
But like Hendrickson will get paid if he keeps playing well. He will get paid. The Bengals. will have to pay him.
Well, that was my.
But it's like guys like Sam Hubbard who make like $12 million a year who those are the guys that are going to get replaced by young guys. Like you can't replace like 17 sacks.
This is Hubbard's last year, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, last year of his contract.
Possibly. I don't remember.
I think it is.
If only there was a way to figure that out.
And if it's not, then I can definitely see him getting cut by next year.
It's just if you don't sack the quarterback, it's just yeah. So he's signed next year.
Yeah, he could be a cap casualty. Yeah, dead $2 million, so they could save $9 million. Ugh.
Yeah, but those are the things you have to do, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
I
like,
mean that's
so it'd be
totally
like
reasonable.
you'd have to cut like say Hubbard and then give his 9.6 to Hendrickson, and then you have to draft a guy to replace Hubbard.
Oh, I think they already did that with.
Yeah,
Murphy.
but that's what I'm saying though. Like those are the games you have to play because like the 17 sacks you can't replace.
Yeah,
you can
no,
replace
I'm
you can
right there
replace
with
3
you.
sacks, but you can't replace 17.
Well, and you can always draft a run stopping defensive end as their specialty, right? Whether it's in the 3rd, 4th round,
yeah,
you can get a guy like that. Because like kind of like what you were saying before, all the premier pass rushers are typically picked in the 1st or at the very least by the 2nd or even 3rd. So it's like
it's really hard to pick an excellent defensive end in the 3rd and 4th round. It's just there are tons of dudes that are picked in the first 3 or 4 rounds at that position who just aren't good, aren't elite, right? So it's just weird, right? Because guys get drafted in a round, and you think of them in terms of their round, but really you should be thinking of them in terms of their NFL production. And it's just like, if you took all the guys that play defensive end that were picked in the 3rd round, like the number of them that are like 10 sack guys is just so few that, yeah, he was a 3rd round pick, but he shouldn't have been. If everybody knew the kind of player that, Hendrickson was going to be, he would have been a 1st round pick, right?
yeah. And then
So,
I think
it's
he
just
was
like
in a unique situation too, where was it? I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. They also had like a really good defensive end that I think he sat behind a little bit.
Yeah. Cam Hayward?
No, that's the Steelers guy.
Oh,
It's like
no. He's
It's Cameron something or something Cameron, right?
yeah. Jordan Cameron?
Yes,
Cameron
that
Jordan.
guy. Yeah.
Because there's like a tight end named like Jordan Cameron, and then they've got Cameron Jordan. But yeah. Right.
But yeah, I think because the Bengals took a chance on him, I think he kind of has like a, I guess, trying to think of the right word.
No, it's just reality, dude. Like it's just like if you're making $10 million. Okay, let's break it down a different way. If you're making $50,000 a year, and you feel like you should be getting paid $100,000 a year, and you go to your boss and say, "Hey, my neighbor does the exact same job as me, and I'm smarter than him, and he's making $100,000, and I'm only making 50, right?" And then your boss is like, "Oh, okay, my bad. How about I give you 80?" Right? You're gonna be kind of disappointed because like you wanted the 100, but at the same time, it's still $30,000 more than you were making last week. So like, okay, right? It's better. And it's just like the position he was in, because the Bengals outbid everybody else for him when he was a free agent. And it was kind of a risky, or it was kind of like people actually said the Bengals were taking a big risk by giving him the money they gave him.
Well, that
right?
and we let go of I can't think of his name, but who had a lot of potential. And they were like, because they basically got the same contract, but the other guy went to the Jets, and we got Hendrickson, and like people were pissed, like, oh, we just let him go for nothing, basically, and blah blah blah. But then obviously Trey Hendrickson did what he did, and everyone's like, we love him. He can't leave. You can't pay him enough. That's the ironic part now. Is like,
you can't.
People are like, you can't pay him enough. Like, it's one of those rare cases where people are like, you need to give him more money.
They were right, because like it's rare that if you take a guy, you're like, oh, he only plays like half the snaps. Well, if you played him all the snaps, he would be excellent. And it's just like, usually it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, so I think that's the word, or what I was thinking of, appreciation. I think the Hendrickson appreciates what the Bengals did for him by like taking the risk and give him that money and making him the guy. And but he also wants to get paid fair market value, because like
right, but at the same time, it's like, what is his options, right? He could either take the $5 million extra, or he could hold out and get none of the dollars at the hope of getting extra dollars. And it's just like, well, how about I just take the $5 million, right?
Yeah, it's because it's fun. It was weird how it happened, because it was like, because I think the whole T. Higgins thing was still trying to work itself out, him trying to resign or whatever. And then they were like, all right, well, if you don't want to resign, and then boom. But they gave it to like Hendrickson.
But the reality is that like, it's very hard to get paid what you're worth. Like, some of it's just luck and timing, right? You just have to be lucky that you're, when it's time for you to negotiate, that you have leverage, right? And that there aren't other options available. It's just like the same thing as hurting Higgins. It's like his leverage sucks because Chase is on the team, right? And it's just like Hendrickson's leverage sucks because when he was a free agent, the Bengals were the highest bidder. And it wasn't as much as what he clearly proved that he's worth. But the problem is that he signed a long-term deal, right? If he was signed to a 1-year deal with the Bengals and had that year that he had his first year, he would be paid top dollar, right? So it's hard to get paid fair market value. It's just like, it just depends on when your time comes, just in life, right?
Yeah, no, I think really the best case scenario is that the guy win the Super Bowl, man. And I think all that stuff will kind of die down. Win it, man.
Yeah, just win it.
If the script is real, the Bengals got to win the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah. Do they have an orange logo this year for the Super Bowl?
It is. It's like it's. I don't know. I feel like it's almost too much, but there's definitely like an orange tone to it.
Yeah.
And then it's got like some like green, like neon green highlights in it. It's got quite a few colors, but it's like
orange and green. So the Bengals are going to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
Seahawks. It's like a Seahawk green.
Okay. Bengals Seahawks Super Bowl. That'd be good.
I don't know. It's in New Orleans, so I feel like it's Chase hometown, I believe.
Burrow.
Where Burrow and Chase played together. I mean,
yeah, that would play good. But where's Taylor Swift playing during the Super Bowl?
Who? Taylor Swift?
Is she's not playing. If she's playing near New Orleans, then we already know what's going to happen. She's out of town. Maybe the Bengals, all right, okay. Or NFL is like, okay, this year we'll have somebody else in the Super Bowl since you're booked. But next year.
Do they have her tour dates?
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
it's
she
public.
probably knows, but is it public for next February? Because I feel like that's kind of early for a tour.
Well, how come they know?
Well, behind the scenes, you kind of have to plan a year and a half in advance because you got to get all the logistics down. But in terms of like selling tickets, that's like way too early because no one knows what they're gonna be doing.
All right, let's look at this tour. Oh no, ends December 8th.
So the Chiefs are not even gonna make the playoffs.
They're out.
No, I mean, if anything, it's probably even worse because she's more available.
Yeah. Well, she likes tight ends. Bengals signed like a bunch of tight ends this year. Maybe she'll start dating a Bengals tight end. Maybe Gesicki?
Ah!
Drew Sample? Hey, Eric Hall. That's our guy.
Yeah. Yeah. All or nothing.
That's right.
All right, man.
All
I think we got to wrap this up. It's getting late.
We totally do.
All right. Well, see if I can figure this out. All right. Peace.